once we pass that kind of, and this is one of the reasons that I believe people are starting to draw that line where we are, is because we could actually have the point where we do allow, and it's kind of similar to what so it'd be a more advanced version of what I believe, to borrow from Tenet, I don't know if he's here, he suggested once that we don't, we do an adoption model similar to Atlas's, but we also allow the abortion, but the abortion stops being an abortion, it becomes a C-section. And at like 5-6 months pregnant, you can get a C-section and opt out of the pregnancy and put it up for adoption, so you don't actually have to carry it to term. And that at a point where we can actually support, but that's going to be, the technology has to get better, and that's going to be a hugely prescriptive cost to society. So that's something society would have to agree to take as a monetary measure. But yeah, Monopole, do you have anything more to say, or sure? I think we're very similar in this.
Yeah, I think we are. I mean,
I guess the main point of contention is you're looking more at the ethics, and I agree with you on the ethics, but I don't think the ethics are necessarily the best way to decide. I think it's practically, I think marrying the ethics with the, the real politic of society is
right. I hate to appeal pedantically to the question, but I guess I thought that the question was specifically what the acceptable point of cutoff is, not necessarily what we can feasibly enact.
Well, I think, but I guess it depends. I think that's the most acceptable because that's how I view the world. Insync, do you want to just split? We can pretty much toss a coin here for who's going to
look, I think
Monopole thinks I think he's done a really good job.
Sure, yeah, I think he's done a really good job.
I think the points are basically equal. So.
Yes, I agree. I think you didn't concede, but I think you've been speaking long enough to treat that as a concession, because he did make a point.
I'm quite happy to let Monopole continue, because I think his point was really good.
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Alright, so next up we have Colombian.
Yep, alright, yep. I'm ready.
Jump in.
Should I just start with anything, really?
Yeah. Just, I mean, if you can continue on, you should do that. But otherwise, start wherever you like.
So I got some statistics because I've just been doing a little bit of research for the past couple of minutes, and so my stance is kind of, a halfway. Because I don't necessarily support abortion in every case. I definitely agree that there are some very strict boundaries as to when you should be having an abortion. The most obvious of which would be the late term abortions, which I don't know who, but someone earlier said. Would be basically a C-section baby, but just not at not after 9 months, after 6 or 7. Just doesn't. It almost seems like killing a baby at that point. Personally, I think, but at the same time, it seems like a lot of single mothers and a lot of young families who aren't quite financially or socially ready to have children are having abortions the most. So. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention did a study, and they found in 2015, 86% of all abortions in the United States were from unmarried women. And then they also found that of pregnant women, married women that did have pregnancies, or that did have abortions, 4% of pregnancies for married women were abortions. And that same statistic goes for 20% of unmarried pregnant women had abortions. So it seems that mostly young people are having them that aren't quite ready to have children. I think the most important thing here would be being financially ready and also being set with a career. Most abortions are... I'm trying to pull up the statistic I found on the website. I lost it here. Give me 1 second, please. I'll look for the website in a minute, but on this... Oh, here it is. From gutmacher.org. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. They interviewed several women. Most of them said that having a baby would, A, dramatically change their life, would interfere with education, interfere with an employment or career, or they are financially unable to have a child. So those seem like pretty legitimate reasons to have an abortion rather than just, I don't feel like it. Most cases of abortions are because of that.
All right. So, are you arguing that those are cases in which abortion is legitimate, and in other cases, say where someone has the ability to support a child and they just decide that they don't want to do that, so they have an abortion, that would be an illegitimate?
I do believe that an illegitimate reason to have an abortion would be just not, feeling like it. If you have the financial support, or like the family support, like family members to look for after the children, etc. You should go through with the baby. If you're healthy, the baby is healthy. You have the money to provide. You have a proper family. Don't take that wrong. I didn't mean it like, proper family, like getting straight. I just meant it like a family, like people to take care of the baby. If you have that, I really see no reason to have an abortion. Honestly, there's really no excuse to have an abortion at that point in time.
Okay, so if we're distinguishing between these two categories of abortion, the ones that are justified and the ones that are unjustified,
correct.
The line that you're drawing here is basically ability